Hey there everybody, it's Lance
and Sam,
and we are Love to Hate, and in this video we are going to be sharing with you all our top 10 games of 2021. We've never done a top 10 list before, so this is our first time ever doing it. Please bear with us as we kind of fumble our way through this a little bit. I'm not too keen on doing top 10 lists because I feel like my top 10 can change any moment's notice.
What mood I'm in.
Yeah, exactly, for real. But for this list, it's going to be a little different than maybe some of the other top 5 or 10 lists that you see from other channels out there, as our channel is all about gaming with non-gamers. So you're going to see a lot more games that we feel do that well. You're not going to see the big heavy games out there like Assassin's Creed or Solomon Kane. Although I've played both of those, I own both of those. They're fantastic games. I would not include them on this list as I would never dare to play them with you.
Yeah, that's not fun.
So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this with number 10. Sam, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
All right, I'll go first here. Okay, so my number 10 game of 2021 is a game from AEG. It's Whirling Witchcraft. And Whirling Witchcraft was a quirky, fun little spooky themed game in which you are a witch building a cauldron, and you have different cards with recipes. And you want to match those recipes with your different colors of cubes, taking them off of your player board, trying to keep your amount of cubes on your player board to a minimum because you don't want to overflow. When you overflow, you give your opponent points. And so the more cubes you can put on your cauldron that you're sending to another player, the better, because they might bust and you might score points that way. So this is a fun, kind of chaotic game in which you are just passing things around and trying to cause other people to bust. So that is my number 10 game of 2021, Whirling Witchcraft.
Mine is going to get a huge eye roll, I believe. My number 10 is Monopoly Target. I make fun of Monopoly all the time on this channel, but I really felt like the Monopoly Target edition was so different from the original Monopoly. It's great for non-gamers, I think, because even if you're a non-gamer, you've heard of Monopoly. Everyone loves Target. It added a lot of Target paraphernalia into it with the Target card.
Selling Target on you.
It was a very quick game too. It's not your typical Target or Monopoly game. So I definitely suggest, if you're thinking about it even a little bit, I think it's a really fun game to have on the shelf. It's easy for kids to play. I think it's a really, really great one to have with non-gamers.
Out of all the Monopolies I've ever played, I can say it is the best one I've ever played.
And I'm also kind of basing my top 10 off of ones that we have played more than one time, and that one has been played numerous times.
Absolutely,
and so even if, I don't know, I just think it has to be on the list because of how many times it's been played.
Yeah, for sure. All right, on to number 9 on our top 10 list. Sam, why don't you go ahead and start with your number 9?
Number 9 for me is one that we did at the very beginning of this year, which was Deck the Halls. And it's a great Christmas game. Again, a great one to play with kids. When you look at it, it looks very childish, but there is a sense of urgency and you really have to figure out what's your strategy, and it's a really enjoyable game and something that we plan on bringing out every Christmas.
Yeah. If you're not familiar with Deck the Halls, it was one that we did a Kickstarter preview for, and it has already been sent out to those who backed it because they guaranteed shipment by Christmas, and they were able to back that up. And so it is out there in existence. You can actually get a copy of it right now. But there were just so many highs with that game. So many exciting moments, so many moments of we're not going to win this. So highs and lows in the sense of we can't win this, and then you turn right back around and we can win it.
And you're trying to figure it out. And there's just not that many Christmas games out there, so I just think it's the perfect one for the Christmas season.
Yeah, and it's a fantastic family cooperative game.
Yeah.
My number 9 is a game that I got to play just not too long ago, and we are going to be doing a review on it here in the very near future, and that is Dollars to Donuts. Dollars to Donuts from Crafty Games is a tile laying set collection type game in which you are running a donut shop and you are trying to formulate perfect matches of donuts, mismatched donuts, trying to get donut points, trying to get dollars so that you can buy more tiles. In my opinion, it is a fantastic family tile laying set collection kind of game with a great theme, donuts. Who doesn't love donuts? There were so many things that I really were blown away by this game. It caught me by surprise. Wasn't expecting the type of experience that I got from it, and had an absolute all-around great time with Dollars to Donuts. So that is my number 9 game.
I played it for the first time last night, so I think if I would have played it earlier and had a chance to play it more, it would have ended up on my list as well, because I really did enjoy it. It's definitely my type of game with the tiles and everything. So
there's a little bit of a preview for our review on it in the near future.
Guess what we'll be wearing in it.
All right, my number 8 is going to be Combo Clash from Hub Games. Combo Clash was a small little game that was all about trying to create combos based off of the other tiles that your opponents have placed out on the board with the tiles that you have in your own hand. And there was a little bit of a memory factor in this game, which I know a lot of people don't like memory, the memory mechanic in board games. But with this, it really worked well because you were having to try to remember what had already been played, that had already been used up and flipped over, and wanting to make sure that you play next to those tiles that combo well off of your own tiles. This, in my opinion, was a game that made you feel very smart when you were able to get a good combo that scored you a bunch of points. My only drawback on this game was that the board was fabric and it wasn't a solid material, or it wasn't like the neoprene mat.
Yeah.
That was my only gripe about that game. Besides that, it was a fantastic game, and I loved how it made me feel smart creating those combos. So my number 8 game of the year is Combo Clash.
My number 8 is a little wordy. It's a 2-player word deduction game. It kind of has a Scrabble. What's another game that you kind of compare it to?
Well, it's a word game, and so it's going to have those letter tiles like Scrabble, but it's got that deduction element to it.
Almost like a Hangman comes to mind.
Okay, yeah.
So it's a small game. It's a quick game. Something that, again, I think a lot of people could easily play, easily get into, a non-gamer. I just think it's a great one to have.
Yeah, it's definitely out of a different element for the folks over there at Exploding Kittens. It's not like their typical game that they make. This was a 2-player word deduction game. You're trying to figure out your opponent's word, not using as many clues as your opponent does before they figure out your word.
Yeah.
It was a really fun back and forth with that one.
Yeah.
And like you said, Sam, it's a compact, very easily to travel with.
And it's just one of those games that a lot of people, they can understand quickly how to play it. Most people understand, Hangman, Scrabble, that type of stuff. It's introducing a new game with elements that people have already heard of. And I think that's the best way to get non-gamers interested in a game.
Absolutely.
My number 7 is Super Mega Lucky Box, which is a flip and write. It's a really fun game. It gives a lot of how did I describe it? It looked like The Price is Right.
It did, yeah.
Very nostalgic vibes from the
colors
the
and the artwork.
Yeah. But very fun game, pretty quick game. And again, easy to play.
Yeah, that's Phil Walker Harding. He makes fantastic games. GameRight did an excellent job on the production of this game. And yeah, it's one that you just break out. You don't have to explain too much to everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody can get it and they can go. And you just flip cards and you start marking numbers off. And it's a lot of fun. Yeah. My number 7 is, and I swear to you, I didn't put this in this spot for this reason. It just serendipitously worked out this way. But my number 7 is Seven Wonders Architects. Seven Wonders Architects is another game that we're going to be doing a review video on in the near future, as we had just gotten to play that over the holiday season here in the last few weeks or so. And in my opinion, this might rub some people the wrong way out there, but Seven Wonders Architects, in my opinion, is the way I want to play Seven Wonders. I don't want to play regular old-fashioned Seven Wonders anymore. I might not even want to play Seven Wonders Duel. I think I would rather play Seven Wonders Architects, as it is a game that is so smooth out the box. You get out the game trays that have everybody's components in them, and you flip over the pieces face down, and you tell people, all right, you either need 3 of the same matching resource, or 3 different, or 4 of the same, or 4 different, and build your architect or your wonder, and try to get some shields so that you can go to war. You don't even have to do that if you don't want to. It's so simple to teach people how to play this game.
And we played with a group of non-gamers.
We played with a bunch of non-gamers on this, and everybody got it, and the non-gamers stood as much of a chance as the gamers in winning the game. And so, in my opinion, this is how Seven Wonders should have come out first. And then the Seven Wonders we're all familiar with should have come out afterwards to be the more bigger brother type game, if you will. Seven Wonders Architects, fantastic. Absolutely love it. It's my number 7 game of the year.
Okay.
My number 6 game of 2021 is a new iteration of a classic game, in my opinion. One of my favorite games of all time. One of the games that we have played the most out of any game in history, and that is King Domino Origins. Is the 2021 new iteration of the game. And if you watched our video on that, you saw all the reasons why I absolutely love King Domino Origins. I feel that it is the perfect step up from King Domino. I felt Queen Domino tried to be that, but in some ways added too much to it. It was a little clunky in my opinion, and King Domino Origins takes that back just a bit and gets it right there in the sweet spot. In my opinion, King Domino Origins is the King Domino that I am going to reach to first to play just about in any occasion. I loved that the fire tokens can be moved around and it switches things up. You can advance the difficulty by increasing those modules that you play with, and the production value on this game was just out of this world. And it's got original King Domino scoring and mechanics with it.
Yeah. Absolutely
loved it. That's King Domino Origins from Blue Orange Games.
My number 6 is a newer one for us. Have we done our review of this one yet?
I don't know. I haven't seen your list. I don't know what it is.
My number 6 is Cuphead.
Oh, no, we have not.
That's coming out though, right?
Yes.
It's a very different game, I feel like, but it was very quick. It's cooperative. It's a lot of fun. It was just a lot of fun to play. You use an app on your phone. I don't think do you have to use.
You don't have to use the app, but it does have that music and the theme to it, so it really kind of gets you in there.
It was not something that I thought I would be super interested in, but it ended up just being so much fun to play. There's a sense of urgency.
Oh, big time. Yes.
But I think that it being a cooperative game helps tremendously. You're talking through like, what are we going to do? But it has to be quick decisions, and I just thought it was really enjoyable.
Yeah, definitely. Gets you into that feel of the Cuphead game, and just the urgency and chaos that goes with that. Dice rolling. You're rolling these dice as fast as you can. There's a lot of action at the table with that. And it's very simple. It's easy to understand for everybody. And there's different bosses that you can take on as you kind of progress through the game.
Yeah. So
that's Cuphead from the Op.
My number 5 game is Trails. Parks was one of our top games, and then Trails came out and it did not disappoint at all. Very enjoyable. I love the theme. I love the gameplay with both of those games, but Trails was really a really fun game for us this year.
Yeah, Trails is definitely one that I thought about putting on my list. It was kind of like the little brother to Parks, but it's more accessible because it's smaller and it's easy to travel with, and it's easier to explain to people who've never played it before. I'm glad they made it. I'm glad it's out there.
Yeah.
You get the Parks feel from it too. They're not so similar that you don't feel like you are playing the exact same game all over again, but similar enough that it scratches that same itch.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Let's see, we're on 5, right?
Yes.
My number 5 game was a game that was a huge hit at Gen Con, and it has continued to be a huge hit since then. It comes from Arcane Wonders, and that is Furnace. Furnace was a game in which you were bidding on different cards, but it wasn't your typical bidding type game. You're placing these numbered chips on the different cards, and sometimes you don't even want to win the cards because you want to get the compensation from that rather than taking the card itself, because the compensation can be more valuable to you in some ways. And so there's a lot of crunchy decisions to be made in choosing which cards you want to try and win and which cards you don't even want any business winning. And sometimes it doesn't work out that way, and the cards you don't win, you actually end up winning. It kind of depends on what the other players do. But you are trying to change one resource to another resource to another resource in this game, all in the hopes of trying to get the most points at the end. There was just so much thinking and so much fun in the decisions that you make in Furnace. I know it doesn't sound like it, and when you first look at it, it's a pretty game, don't get me wrong, but it looks like it's a heavier game than what it ought to be, and it's really not. It's a very light game. Looks are very deceiving with Furnace. I absolutely loved it. It's one that I'm going to get to the table quite a bit more, and that's Furnace from Arcane Wonders. All right, my number 4 game is a game that you look at the front cover of the box and you see SpongeBob on it. I mean, I'm going to think of that every time I look at this game. And in some ways, I look at it and I can't take it too seriously. And when I think about the theme, you can't think too seriously about this game either. It's dice that are racing one another. That is Cubitos from AEG Games. This was a race game, which I am a big fan of race games. However, they don't always get the best rap on them. This one was one that deserved all the recognition that it got. In this game, you are trying to upgrade your dice. You are trying to move your character around the racetrack as fast as you can. There's different paths to victory. It is a dice rolling game, so there's some luck involved. However, you can mitigate that quite a bit throughout the course of the game by increasing the value of your dice, the ones that you are rolling. There's bag building involved in this game, which is one of my favorite mechanics in all of board gaming. I absolutely really enjoyed Cubitos, and I found that every race came down to the wire. There were so many times where I thought I had it in the bag only to have somebody pass me at the last second, or vice versa. I thought I was out and then I passed somebody right at the very end. Excellent time with Cubitos.
My number 4 is On the Rocks. It was a very fun game where you're making mixed drinks and you're just making orders, and it has the marbles. It's just a really pretty easy game and pretty quick as well, but very enjoyable. And again, I'm going off of how many times we got this to the table, and that was one that came to the table a good bit of times after we purchased it.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the most beautiful games of the year, too.
Yeah.
The production value on this game is through the roof. Everything about it is super thematic, and you actually feel like you're a bartender making those mixed drinks with the different colors of marbles. The way it looks, the table presence, out of this world with that game. Definitely an elegant feel to it. So, yeah, for sure.
Okay, my last 3 could almost be tied for number 1. It was very hard to pick which one is which. Number 3 was The Initiative, and that is what type of game?
Oh man, where to begin with The Initiative? The Initiative, folks, you're going to see it come up again. It's going to come up later on my list, so I'm only going to say so much on it right now. But it's a game. There's a narrative to it. It has escape room elements to it. It's the game itself is a card hand management type of game.
Yeah, but escape room is a good descriptor of it. I mean, if we're purely going off of how often a game has hit our table, this would be number 1. This has been on our table. This is something that we will be in the middle of a long night of filming or a long night of playing new games, and we'll say, you want to play one round of The Initiative, and it never is just one round. It's usually a couple, and we still have not finished.
There's still more that we need to unpack on it.
Yeah, I mean, but it is a excellent game. I think every gamer, probably non-gamer as well, needs to have it on their shelf.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll let Lance say the rest later.
As I said, it's going to be on my list. It's a little higher than 3, but I'll speak more to it here in a second. But my number 3 game is a game from Pandasaurus Games. It was a game that I got to teach while I was helping Pandasaurus work their events booth at Gen Con, and that is The Loop. It is a cooperative game in which you are going to be time traveling, and you are trying to stop evil Dr. Foe, or Dr. Fu. We're still not quite sure how to pronounce that name. But he is trying to destroy time, and he's got clones in the different eras, and you are trying to destroy those clones, get them taken off the board, trying to fulfill certain missions, objectives. And the really unique thing about this game are those cards that you're playing to do your actions, and how each of them have suits. And with the matching suits, you can play them again by doing a loop, or going back in time and repeating the actions again. And so this is a game in which you could try to create chains of combos in which you could try and knock out lots of stuff off the board. So lots of clones or lots of missions. And then you have the evil Dr. Foe in the center of the board, who is going to be dropping those rift cubes, trying to destroy the different eras of time. There was so much about this game that really blew me away the first time I've played it. Every time I've played it since, I felt like I need to get a little more skilled on how to try to stop Dr. Foe. This is a game in which it is super challenging, but each time you come back to it, you want to keep playing it again and again to try and get better at it. Really excited that there's some news about an expansion on it coming out in the near future, so I'm really excited to see that. That is The Loop from Pandasaurus Games. All right, so we're down to our top 2 of 2021. And I've not seen any of Sam's list, by the way, so I don't know what her top 2 are. But my number 2 is a game that you heard her say just a second ago, and that is The Initiative.
So now he's going to make it sound better than I did.
Well, folks, The Initiative is a game that really reminds me of why I fell in love with board gaming in the first place. And it really just opens up the idea of what a board game experience can be like and what it can do for you. Because you get a sense of almost like being sucked into the game, like Jumanji or something of the sorts. And you read the story of these kids kind of going through a comic book, and they're playing a game, and there's lots of weird stuff going on with the FBI or something of the sorts. And you're solving these puzzles, and the puzzles have escape room type elements to them. Just the whole entire experience is one that I can't get enough of. I want to see more games like this. The actual gameplay, I think, was what for some people made them not like this game so much, because the gameplay is very simplistic and straightforward. But when you add in all of the other elements to it, you can't judge it based off of just the game.
It's an experience.
Right. You can't just judge it based off of the game. You have to judge it based off of everything that it's trying to do, the story it's telling, and the different kind of tricks it's playing on you is kind of how I like to think of it.
Brain teasers and
oh man,
it's great game.
I can't sell it enough. I've every mission that I've played, I've been left saying, we need to play another one. We need to play another. And if we're not careful, we're playing until like 3 a.m. So I absolutely love The Initiative. It's my number 2 game of 2021.
My number 2, we just did a review on this one, and it is Canopy. Really, this was a really enjoyable game for me. It's a very beautiful game. Really fun, very simple, but there's just something about this game that I just absolutely loved.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful game. Vincent Dutrait did fantastic artwork on it. I enjoyed the drafting mechanics on it. It was a different type of drafting game in that you're not stuck with a handful of cards choosing only one to pick from. That's a lot of pressure to put on somebody, especially a casual or non-gamer who's not too used to having to do that. It's a pile of cards, and you're choosing whether you want to take all that or go for whatever's in this pile over here. It's kind of like that, let's make a deal. Do you want what's behind door number one, what you know, or do you want what's behind door number two, what you don't know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I thought that was a very cool mechanic. So, Canopy.
Yes. Okay, my number one game, and I have looked at Lance's list, so
No.
we're both the same.
Oh, no.
Our number one game is Nidavellir.
Oh, man. I didn't think that was going to be your number one.
Yeah, after thinking about it,
Okay.
and it was played. It was a earlier in the year game, so I had to kind of think back. But when we did get it, we played that game very often.
Yeah.
And just every time Lance would win, I would win the next time, and then Lance won, I would win the next time, and it's one that I love that game.
Yeah, for me, and this comes from Hatchet games and Gur games. For me, Nidavellir was like Splendor meets. Oh gosh, I can't think of another game, but it's like Splendor on steroids.
Yes, which is.
Splendor's one of her favorite games. I absolutely enjoyed Splendor. I did enjoy Marvel Splendor, which would have been maybe an honorable mention that I would put out there. But man, just for me, it's the betting. It's the different betting that you do with those chips, and you can choose to upgrade your chips at the expense of probably not getting your best choice on one of the drafting pools. Just the choices in this game really kind of makes me go back to Furnace, because every choice you made in Furnace is extremely important, and that's the same in Nidavellir, except this is kind of a point salad game in which you're getting all of these points and you feel like you're doing a lot of good work, but so is everybody else at the table, and you got to keep up with everybody.
And when I first saw this game, I'm not into the themes. That doesn't really draw me to a game, and it does look, when it's all set up with all the options,
all the
it
doors.
looks very overwhelming.
Yeah.
And I thought immediately, like, no, this is something you should be playing with your gamer friends. But then the first time I played it, I was like, this is great.
Awesome.
This is a great game.
Yeah, for me, guys, I think the reason why I put Nidavellir at number one is I don't know that there's any other game out there that has made me so excited for a point salad type of game. I'm usually more somebody who is wanting to scratch and claw for those points, because it makes you feel rewarded when you actually get them. But in this game, you're just getting showered with points every time you pick up a card. But then you start to kind of realize, wait a second, I need to be starting to do this over here so that I'm not falling behind on getting points over there. Oh, and now I need to go over here. And it's a game that every choice you make, you're kind of second guessing yourself, and you're kind of still feeling rewarded. Just a lot of emotions that kind of go through with Nidavellir.
Yeah. It's a great game.
It is a fantastic game. It's been my favorite game of all of 2021. It's been your favorite game, evidently, of all of 2021. That is Nidavellir from Hatchet Games and Gur Games. We can't recommend it enough. Go check it out.
Yeah.
So there you have it. That is our top 10 of 2021. This is our first time ever doing a top anything list before. So yeah, let us know your thoughts. Let us know which ones you agree with. Let us know what your top 10 is. Leave that down below in the comment section, and we'll try and get back to that and comment and let you know our thoughts on what you put down below. And there you have it. We're excited to see what 2022 has in store. I know that there's a lot of fun, exciting games on the horizon, and so we are ready to try them out. There you have it.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
We are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.